commodity, equity, and cryptocurrency. And I'll do this on a regular basis, usually before Asia session opens, so I can give us a full new day and kind of go from there. Okay, so let me start with dollar index. Okay, so dollar index, a couple of days ago, I posted a chart regarding weakness in dollar. We do see this strong kind of bearish move to the downside, okay, and we're forming this kind of deeper correction. And I'm expecting the price to break all of this correction, which it did yesterday, and then forming a continuation correction right here. And right now we're seeing this complete breakout to the downside, okay, and then I'm expecting price to continue going lower and lower until tagging this low right here, okay. And and see what the price will do at this point. I do expect the price to continue its bearish movement at least till this low right here. This will be a more like a higher time frame double bottom, and we will see how the price will react when that point hits. So expecting more dollar. Okay, so there's a couple dollar pairs I have on watch list as well, and they're also showing the same kind of dollar weakness, and we'll go from there. So jumping into euro dollar I also is biased for a long. So we see the overall price structure. We had a really strong move to the upside, and then we have this continuation correction forming, and then price did manage to break above it, impulse up, now forming this triangle structure, also a continuation pattern, and we're expecting more to the upside. Okay, and seeing what the price is doing here gives me extra confluence here. We do see price push up, and then if we go down to the lower time frame, we do see price also forming this kind of pennant structure. Price did break above that as well, so that's all very good confluence to adding to a long. And right now, this is the last piece of a price action here. I'm expecting price to continue form some sort of correction here, and we can look for a entry point right here. And really, there's really not much above that you need to worry about. I can see the price continuing up there. And if we zoom out on a higher time frame, there could be a potential double top at this point. This is still kind of far away, at least 150 plus 180 plus pips. Once we pass that, if the double top, if the price action form any kind of, then really I can expect price to continue going up and up, right? If we zoom out to the weekly time frame, there is so much room to the upside, right? You just have to see it from higher time frame kind of outlook. If we zoom in a little bit, we see that once the price did manage to break above this double top that I mentioned on the daily, then really there's nothing stopping the price to continue going up and up until this point right here, beginning of this kind of a descending channel structure, right? We see price had an impulse to the upside and continue kind of going a really long, complicated correction, and we see finally seeing some breakout to the upside. So I'm expecting all this to happen obviously in the more mid to long term kind of time frame, but I expect the price to continue going to the top. Moving on to pound dollar. Okay, same idea. So if I go to the daily chart, I'm expecting pound dollar on the long. So if we see the overall price action, we had a mass impulse to the downside from COVID, and then quickly retrace back up. And what's important is this really large continuation correction. We're seeing price is kind of just going price to tag this low, forming a double bottom right here before the next bull move to the upside. However, price didn't do that, but this is okay because what I'm seeing on the 4-hour chart, we have this inverse kind of head and shoulder, right? And on the right kind of see a complete structure. So we are going to go up. And last bit of price action, if we zoom in a little bit more, as you can see, this is the right shoulder for that inverse head and shoulder. A completion of the correction. We see another move to the upside, and this is a very good lower time frame continuation correction that I'm always looking for. So entry point to here would be very ideal, and you can see prices slowly shaping up to a kind of a mini flag pattern as well. So expecting it to continue to go up. Okay, so that's pound dollar. No question here. Pretty cool. I'm expecting price to at least hit this top, and then I will observe if price will manage to break above and then continue upwards. Moving on to dollar CAD, same thing, dollar weakness. If we zoom out on the 4 hour here, we see this overall price structure. Uh, Price has been in this kind of correction for a really long time, and then a strong impulse to the downside. And I mentioned about a continuation correction right here, right? And this is where I got into one of my trade here, dollar CAD for short. Now, what I'm expecting now is price did manage to drop down quite fiercely, quite impulsively, and then I'm expecting obviously some sort of correction to form here. And what I'm seeing here, if we zoom in a little bit, I'm seeing a head and shoulder pattern again, right? So this is the left shoulder, head, and then this is the right shoulder forming, right? And then once we see, it also shows the completion of a continuation structure, expecting more bearish momentum to the downside. Going on to the 1 hour chart, we see kind of, I think a lot of people getting to a sell right here. Price had this kind of rising wedge pattern to a top, hitting this top, and then we see price drop down. So a lot of people probably enter on this short, which is great. What I'm expecting more from here at this point forward is price continue to form some sort of continuation correction here, and then I would expect that more sell momentum to continue, really to all the way to the previous low right here. And that would be a very good risk reward right here. And expect the price to continue fall if we drop very impulsively, because we're getting close to this kind of overall higher time frame channel. If we zoom out a little bit, you see price had this massive impulse to the upside from COVID, and then forming this correction, drop down, and then we're waiting for this next continuation correction to continue drop down. At least to this, really to the bottom of the structure, and we'll see what happens here. If price managed to break and look for that continuation, and then we're going down even more. Okay, so for now, for this week, look for that kind of a sell setup on the intraday charts. Okay, expect price to form another correction before another drop, because we had a pretty strong drop already from yesterday. Expect price to mainly correct itself in this 1 or 2 day next. Moving on to other dollar pair, very simply, dollar peso, same idea. Had this strong bearish move to the downside, and then we have formed this kind of deeper correction. I went and last couple of days I posted a chart here expecting price to form a continuation correction here, right? Uh, this is more of a ascending channel, so still a reversal, still a continuation. So I'm expecting price to continue lower. If we go down to the 1 hour chart, to the lower time frame, do see a price breakout here. So I will be looking for a little bit more push down and then another continuation, and I'm expecting this to go low. Okay, and you can expect this to go pretty low to the previous part. This will be a pretty massive trade as well. This opportunity present itself. You can also see there's this head and shoulder pattern once again, right? So all this is pretty good, adding confluence to all the dollar pair trade. Last dollar pair I want to go over is dollar Singapore dollar. Just because structure-wise, it's probably the best one out there. Zoom out a little bit here. Again, massive shoot up from downside because of COVID, and then we see price slowly correct itself back down. We had an impulse correction, impulse correction, impulse larger correction, strong impulse. Now this is the last bit of a correction before another drop down, right? You can see that's just how the market moves. There's no question about it. You can see that move itself is just repeating over and over again. Structurally, maybe a different structure, but in general, it's all a continuation correction. So I'm expecting this correction to finish, and I'm expecting more downside. So going down to the 1 hour chart, we see price is pretty much at the bottom of the structure now, but don't be too rushed. Be patient. I expect to see more drop down and then a continuation correction on the lower time frame, and then this could be easily added sell to the position, and we have lots of room. Once again, just like the other dollar pairs, we have lots of room to the downside, right? Don't miss this trade, right? You can miss, a couple 10, 20 pips here, but don't miss the down trade when the correction is finished. Okay, here's euro pound. So Euro Pound, last week I also made analysis on completion of the this kind of ascending channel on a higher time frame. So if we zoom in, I expect the correction here to target the top, which it did, and then it dropped down. So I'm expecting a correction here, which we also get. And price actually managed to break out of this channel, which is very good, a very good price action. Again, we see this head and shoulder pattern everywhere, right? Head and shoulder pattern, breakout, now forming a lower time frame continuation correction. I would be looking for a sell entry down here, at least to this low right here. And then we can expect, is there going to be any deeper correction down here, continue low, or price simply just drop above and then continue downwards to the beginning of this structure. Again, don't miss this right here, right? This is going to be a very good trade if this correction finishes and we can expand more downside. And be patient here because don't just jump into the trade, wait for confirmation. Pound pairs, I'll talk about pound Swiss first because it's correlated to euro pound. If we zoom out on pound Swiss, again, you guys know I've been buying from the bottom, looking for continuation correction. We enter at this kind of a descending channel, and then I'm looking for continuation. It breaks out, and this is the continuation structure. And price went up, and now it's correcting itself. And then guess what? I'm expecting a breakout again, right? Price broke out this, and then now if this piece of a little lower time frame correction is forming, so expect price to continue go up, continue go up, continue go up. Expecting price to at least hit this top right here, beginning of this kind of falling wedge on a higher time frame. And once price hit that spot, um, we'll see if price is able to break above and then continue upward. Okay, again, this is the trade right here, right? So don't miss this trade right here to the upside. Um, Moving on to other pound pairs that I'm interested at, looking at pound Aussie. A couple of people have asking about a couple of pound pairs. So I shall go over them really quickly and see that overall structurally, price is at this bottom near of this channel right here, right? Just because price break below it doesn't mean that it's going down, okay? What I'm looking for is structures that confirms the bias, right? So if you're looking at this overall, just price to the downside, massive impulse, right? Uh, it's just not going to continue drop like this in a straight line, right? Once prices drop this massively, expect a deeper correction, which is what I'm kind of forecasting here, right? Expect a deeper correction to form, a more complicated one until resume of the bearish move, okay? So if we go into the 4-hour chart, I do see this 4-hour kind of parallel channel forming as well. And I do see a breakout and I see a little bit of correction. So what I'm expecting price to do is actually uh, have some correction in this next kind of couple of days to a week time. Expect price to be ranging in this parallel channel. Obviously, structurally, it could be looked differently, but expect price to move up and down within this channel for that long to form this daily deeper correction, but before the actual drop continues. Okay. So keep an eye on this, keep an eye on this structure right here. Expect that to happen before more continuation. Same idea on pound kiwi is also at this bottom of the structure that we're looking at. So again, price action structurally wise, we're looking at this falling wedge, forming right now, and price did break a little bit up. I'm expecting price to fully break up. Expect price to fully break up and then form a continuation correction before it continue going up. Okay. Uh, Before I see any of that, I'm not interested in the buy, nor I'm interested in the sell. Why? Because right now it's just at the daily kind of bottom structure, and price can go either up, either way, right? So what I'm expecting or what I'm confirming is looking for confirmation on a lower time frame. Price can actually break below, right? If we see more sell momentum come in, price can actually break below, and in that case, I'll wait. Doesn't mean it's going to start shooting down in a straight line. Expecting drop down, another continuation correction, and then the sell happens. Okay, so that is what I'm looking at in terms of pound Aussie and pound Kiwi. Last one I want to go over is a commodity, platinum. You guys make sure you know that platinum I'm favored for a long-term buy. So we expect price to continue to go up. Okay, we form a really deep continuation correction. So you can see here on the daily chart, uh, price drop down from COVID, small correction, massive drop down. Now it's just been recovering. It's been forming continuation correction along the way. This last bit of correction is very favorable for a long. We see a move to the upside and then really a long consolidation happening before a small breakout. Okay, and if we drop down to the lower time frame, we see the structure breaking out, and I'm expecting again a lower time frame continuation correction. That's kind of what I'm looking for. Just because it breaks above the structure doesn't mean it's gonna go out. Just because it actually had a few candles above those guys wouldn't just start dropping down again and to the bottom of here before it takes off again, right? So look for confirmation. This is how I trade and using my trading plan. Look for confirmation. Once breakout, look for a correction, look for a structure, look for some sort of pattern indicating that your bias is going to continue and then add into the buyer itself. Quickly go over a couple stocks because I also post some stocks. I think a lot of people are focusing on Boeing. So my Boeing still same analysis. I'm looking for price to break above this kind of triangle structure. Again, forming some sort of continuation correction before going up. So this still needs some time to develop. Johnson and Johnson, same idea. It's forming a little bit deeper structure, but when I post, I'm expecting price to either drop down to a low before it take off, or it takes off on here directly, and now it's forming a little bit of correction. So it might continue going up for the next couple of days, but only until price breaks out of this structure is when I buy. Okay, it's just kind of chilling around in the structure back and forth. I'm not interested in the buy. I want to see a confirmation breakout and then a continuation correction, or price may drop down once more, completely this structure here, and then I can be looking for a buy from the bottom. This trade from the bottom would be a better risk rate. Okay. A couple other ones, Coca-Cola. Coca-Cola is pretty good as well if we zoom out on the 4-hour chart. Again, structurally, this is looking great. We had an impulse, we had a correction. This is at the bottom of the correction, so I'm expecting one more move up, and this move up can actually continue upwards, right? So expecting this buy to be high momentum coming in. Right now, I'm expecting this correction to continue to form on the lower time frame. So if we see price completes this pattern, we can see more upside to the top. Okay, so this is very interesting because this also kind of aligns with Pepsi. So go up to Pepsi really quick. A little more favorable structure to me personally. Again, we see this impulse. This structure is more parallel channel is forming. Okay, so very good continuation structure. Price is kind of in the middle of nowhere, so expect price to either tag the low once more and look for a buy here will be a nice risk reward, or price, just like what I said, breaks out of the structure and form continuation. In that case, this is a buy as well. Okay, so that's Coke and Pepsi. I'll look at MasterCard and Visa because they're similar structure once more. Strong impulse, again, correction, looking for a third touch of the structure, completes that, and look for that buy up here. Same thing as Visa. Looking for another drop down for the price, completes this structure. Again, look for that buy. And one more I want to go over, I think, is Lululemon. Lululemon has very massive, strong move. In fact, most of the stocks or equities that I just look at, they're just either below or near this top of price. Actually, if you look at it, actually impulse way above the previous high point of COVID, which is all really good news for companies like Lululemon. So I'm expecting price here to form a little bit more complicated structure. This massive again, unless a continuation correction. right? So structurally, I'm looking for the price to get pushed down either once or twice, completing this continuation structure before the takeoff again. So be very patient with this. Don't just look for a buy right here. This structure is not complete. Okay, I'm expecting structurally to tag below once more, at least to be a confirmed correction before the buy. Okay, last one, crypto. I think only Bitcoin I'm looking at. So Bitcoin, I think it was a week ago I mentioned I'm only interested in a sell. The reason being is we're really at this very good area right now. If we look at the daily chart, daily double top, we get into the daily very, very correctively, right? This is very good. It's a higher time frame kind of a structure, and it's actually a reversal kind of type of entry here. So I'm not interested in the buy because the buy is not going to give me much risk reward, okay, especially in crypto. I'm not looking, sorry, I'm not interested in this buy, right? I'm not interested in this buy, okay? I'm expecting price to happen to move to have that move to the upside, completing this structure on a higher time frame, and I'll be looking for a sell from the top, right? So excuse me. So looking for price to get pushed up once more, completing one, two, three of the structure, and then completing a double top. And then if the price gets there correctively, I will be looking for a sell entry from the top because that is going to give me the best risk reward. Okay, I expect price to at least drop down to the low of this structure before any more downside movement, or it can reverse up from this point forward, completes a bigger structure, and it still drops. But uh, I think once it goes up for this third target, this structure is potentially complete. So this cell will happen. In fact, if it breaks out of it, I do see continuation at least to the lows of this structure, and before it kind of take off again. Okay, so that's pretty much what I have on Bitcoin. Okay, so that pretty much summarized my daily kind of market update and daily outlook, and I'll be posting this periodically, maybe twice a week. So pay attention to when I will be posting them, and I will see you guys next time. Thank you very much.